Hey guys, Marsing here, bringing you a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a look at the INT Fusion Zamasu EZA, now that we have it live in the game. A lot of mixed responses to this guy's EZA when his details came out, but it's always been a unit that's been pretty cool. That art is awesome, right? The red sort of flame alternate like LR effect is super cool. But yeah, we're going to take a look at this guy on the STR Rose team and see what we can get out of him. His 18 key super massively raises attack and greatly raises defense for 1 turn. Mega colossal damage greatly lowers attack. His 12 key greatly raises attack and massively raises defense, as well as doing colossal damage and lowering attack. So that means his 12 key super has a 100% defense raise. And we'll see as we go through his passive, he can get multiple supers in the turn. So he's definitely not a slot 1 unit. But we can see here we get an entrance animation when there's another Potara ally on the team upon his entry, which gives him additional 1 key per key sphere obtained and changes tech orbs to rainbow for 5 turns. Then his basic effects receive an additional key 1 per key sphere obtained. So obviously that means for the first 5 turns he's getting 2 key per key sphere obtained extra. Randomly changes key spheres of a certain type, int and tech excluded, to int. So he's going to make tech orbs into rainbow, other orbs into int, which is pretty good. Attack and defense 200% and 30% damage reduction. So when he attacks with 12 or more key, 50% extra attack and defense, attacks effective against all launches an additional super. I skipped ahead one. When attacking with 18 or more key, another 50% attack and defense, attacks effective against all types, and then launches an additional super. With 24 key, attack and defense 100% and guaranteed crits. So that means if you get 24 key, he's getting 200% extra attack and defense and 2 additional supers. Guaranteed, which of course will both be then another 100% defense raise. He's going to be guaranteed critting and effective against all types, so he should be able to do some pretty good damage, even if his attack stats aren't as high as some of the other numbers or the other characters around him. He's not worrying about type disadvantage or anything like that, which is good. For every attack received or evaded, he gets damage reduction 10% within the turn up to 30, and then stacks up key permanently +1 up to 5. Each time he receives 3 or more attacks in battle or evades 3 or more attacks in battle, he recovers 10% HP at the end of the turn. And then when receiving an unarmed super, great chance to nullify and counter with tremendous power, or guaranteed nullification with a counter with tremendous power if you picked up 10 orbs with him. So certainly very interesting. As you can see here, like start of turn we only have about 300k defense, but he's going to get 200% on super, so without even taking into account all of his super attack effects, he's going to be jumping up to like 900k. His initial super is a greatly raise, so he will be going pretty much straight up to like 1.1 million, and then every additional after that is 100% raise. I believe that's off of this 300 and not whatever the defense is at the time he does the super. I'm not actually sure. I'm still not like completely up on all the stages of the calcs for Dokkan, but this rotation we got double STR Rose, so no extra support, so this will be a good to see for his first like fresh turn 1. We've got big bad bosses, Dismal Future, Nightmare and Fierce Battle. He does have the active skill as well, can be activated after performing 5 or more supers, which with his new passive obviously pretty easy to get. Like if you're getting enough key, which obviously we are, he's going to do a guaranteed 3 attacks, so by the time he's been on, like he's had 2 appearances, he's going to have that active skill ready to go. So yeah, let's go ahead and see what we can get from this guy on his first turn with no support here. 29.4 million, okay. So yeah, definitely not like an insane number, but there's of course the guaranteed crit and it's effective against all types. Then we get the 18 mil, and then of course, because each of the additionals also does greatly raise attack, so 18 becomes 20. And then can we get the hidden potential? The fact that he does a couple of extra attacks guaranteed makes it more likely to proc the hidden potential, and there we go. So 21. So I mean the additionals were like 60 million all by themselves, so he did about 90 million attack stat worth of attacks in that turn, which is pretty good. and then get hit a couple of times, build up some more ki. The building up that extra ki will be really helpful for once the intro buff runs out and obviously he doesn't create rainbow orbs anymore. Having that little bit of extra base ki to start with is going to help for hitting those varying levels, because if you can consistently get him into situations where he's there's an interesting setup here, both turns in a row he hasn't attacked in slot 1. Yeah, if you can get him into a situation where he's got some support and stuff like that, the int orb changing should be fine, because it's only the only thing that's in his passive that requires an actual number of orbs is the guaranteed super attack nullification. Everything else for like the extra stats when he's attacking, crit, effective against all types, all that stuff is all the amount of ki. So if he's got some ki support, he's built up ki by getting hit a little bit in the first few turns, then you're going to find yourself potentially in a situation where you don't actually have to pick up many orbs for him to be at 24 ki, right? Because then if you're getting 24 ki consistently, which gives him guaranteed crits, you don't need to give him any crit in the hidden potential. The best build for this guy is going to be full dodge and then the rest additional, because he gets those 2 extra attacks, therefore it checks for his hidden potential additional like 3 times. You probably don't, I would say, need it to be much higher than about 15, because that's a 30% chance, and then like I said, that will get checked for 3 times. You can go higher, but obviously the higher you go, it's obviously it's all RNG, but like if you give him full additional, you pretty much guarantee you're always going to get a hidden potential additional, but it's almost like it's too much, right? The extra gets wasted in a certain sense, right? Because the hidden potential gets checked for with every attack he does. So if you give him like 25 additional, it's a 50% chance. A lot of the time, you're just going to get that with the first check, and therefore the extras just seems like it's wasted. I know it doesn't quite technically work like that, but it's like RNG is weird, I guess. But we got legendary power active here. Of course, that wasn't active last time, but we would have had that as well because it wasn't active at the start of the turn. But you can see with the extra ki, now we're starting off on 13 ki at the start of the turn. Now if I do this, that should connect up all the int orbs. The only problem is, of course, in a situation like this on this turn, Rose probably is just going to kill him here. So, because that's the problem, is Zamasu can't really go in slot 1. So in a situation like this, we can't really just be like, well, we'll put him in slot 1 and see, like, you know, how much damage he's going to do against this Goku, because if he gets supered in slot 1, it'd be pretty awkward. After supering, though, when he builds up his defense, I think the calcs that I saw is that after getting like the 2 extra supers, he's somewhere around like 2.8 million, something like that. Which means with the 30% damage reduction that he has, it's only really the hardest hitting bosses in the game that would be able to kill him with their super. But that's all based on like whether or not he gets hit before that, because of course he has this ability where he gets hit 3 times, he then has 60% damage reduction, but it's only within the turn. So if he gets into a situation where he gets hit with like 2 normals and then gets hit with a super, then he's going to be able to tank up to, I think we count it's like almost 7 million damage potentially, if he's got 2.8 million defense. I think it's close to that, right? Because if we can do the calculation here, 7 million minus 60%. Yeah, it takes you to 2.8. So if he's at 2.8 million defense and he gets hit twice, like 2 normals, which he will obviously tank because he's got decent defense and damage reduction, tank the 2 normals and then tank a 7 million damage super for double digits. Whereas obviously if he gets attacked with the 7 million damage super first, now someone in chat was saying that getting hit with the first hit procs that first 10%. So the first hit he takes will actually be 40% damage reduction. I'm not sure if that is how that works, but let's just say that it is. 7 million minus 40% is still then 4.2 million damage. So yeah, with 2.8 million defense, that means he takes over 1 million damage from that still. So not an ideal situation. But here we have some extra support. We've got Godly Power active now as well, which is a link that provides 15% attack. So yeah, try not to get full ki with Rose. And this is still the friend one though, so they could potentially still do a ridiculous amount of damage. But we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll grab those for you. Yeah, it's a real shame. I know one of people's big complaints is like, because he's not a slot 1 unit, it would have been quite fun to have him in slot 1 and then be able to actually bust out the STR like Zamasu part of the Rose and Zamasu card. The problem is I should have tried to just get him on rotation with the 55% Rose, because Rose is too good. Now we just keep getting turns where Rose keeps killing. That's the other problem as well with units that are not slot 1 units, especially when you're trying to do a showcase for them, is when you get into the next phase and the enemy's on too low HP. So then the slot 2 unit doesn't even get a chance to attack. Oh, that worked out quite nicely. Actually, this rotation, like luck, worked out quite well considering that Vegito can be attack lowered, and then we ended up with the tech clone on this first turn, so that we're passively lowering his attack by, is it like 70% this guy's passive if he's got his full, like each one of each extreme types, getting the tech orb, all that good stuff. So Vegito Blue like massively debuffed here. Fortunately, Vegito Blue, this is where we start to get to the point where like Vegito Blue does have quite a lot of HP, so we shouldn't be in a situation on the next turn now where the friend Rose is just going to kill Vegito, so we will finally actually get to see Zamasu attack again. I mean, the thing is, he doesn't have any permanent build-up sort of stuff in his passive aside from the first 5 hits or dodges give him that extra key, which is a permanent buff, which is obviously very helpful. You kind of ideally want to get that before you get to the point where his Rainbow Orb changing runs out, which of course we haven't been able to do because of the rotations that we've been getting. So hopefully we'll be all good, because that's the thing, he gets the, I guess because he's got a free level 5 dodge because he's an int unit, but he has that thing in his passive that's like for every attack received or evaded, but he doesn't actually have any dodge in his kit. So dodge and hidden potential can obviously be very helpful, because not only can he avoid those potential big attacks that would do a lot of damage to him, but obviously he's then also oh, hello. Let's yeah, I think we can do this and not do too much damage. Let's use the Rose active skill, because then that gives the permanent buff, or the, I say permanent, the temporary buff to the team. Although I may have just unstuck myself here, because obviously that might be now the 8 Rose in slot 1 might actually be able to do enough damage to kill Vegito, because he's now got his own buff, and there's the AGL Rose on the rotation for support. That's going to be the big problem with this Zamasu, is like STR Rose is too good. I guess we could find like, well, I'll try this Zamasu out in a bunch of other events anyway, but yeah, events that are going to last a little bit longer are going to be helpful, because the friend Rose just keeps doing too much, like getting the extra super off here. Fortunately not enough to kill him, so at least we can see the 18 key super from Zamasu again. So 18 key super with Zamasu, with the support from the Rose active and the AGL Rose support. The only 18 key super we've seen from him so far was what, 29 million on turn 1? 39 million now, okay, basically 40, so it's like 3999. And of course by getting the 24 key guaranteed crit, and he does lower attack, which for some of these events where you can still lower attack, that's obviously very helpful. But alright, so we can't lower attack here, but let's just keep you there. As long as the Zamasu Goku doesn't get supered in slot 3, then we should be fine. Okay, well, there we go. Trunks has a pretty decent amount of HP, but I won't hit the nodes on the Dokkan attack just for the sake of not doing too much damage. And then next turn should be a good turn for Zamasu, because Trunks will actually have enough HP that we can, hopefully, get all of our attacks off. But, of course, because INT Zamasu killed Vegito on the last turn, we're still at a point where we haven't been hit that many times. He got hit, what, was it twice or 3 times in like the first turn? So fortunately we've been lucky with the orbs and stuff. We haven't missed the 24 key despite not having that extra bit of key build up in his passive, so that's pretty good. Yeah, the tech clone having the action break's actually really good as well, Because is that only one attack at the end? It is. So now Zamasu Goku's not actually even being hit at the end because of the clone. The tech clone's so good. The attack lowering against enemies that can be attack lowered, obviously, very powerful. And then yeah, the fact that he has the action break as well. Like, obviously Trunks had already supered, so we know like we weren't going to get supered in slot 3 or anything like that, but... Oh yeah, I should have used the other Rose's active skill. Right, so his active skill, massively raise attack temporarily, ultimate damage, and stuns the enemy for 1 turn. Obviously we know we're not going to stun the enemy, but let's go ahead and check out his active skill here.
The time has come to open the earth and wash everything away. Rejoice, for the world of gods is at hand. Lightning of absolution.
Yeah, not that crazy damage, I guess. So the problem is here, we definitely are going to be missing key if we don't go for... Although, actually, we could do... We could do this. Have the Zamasus together. Because we can just put you in slot 1. So do that. Do that. Because yeah, him not attacking in slot 1 again is pretty helpful for this. Because then Zamasu can get all of his attacks off. 36 million. I mean, we'll see. I think Trunks, this first phase Trunks, before he goes into the Spirit Sword, does like 6 million super, I'm pretty sure. So, if we get the 4 supers here from Zamasu, like with the hidden potential, it'd be good to see what he's able to tank this Trunks for. We'll get the event details back up here. Yep, so there we go. There's all the supers for Zamasu. Yeah, 6.3 million this Trunks does with a super. And then he didn't super anyway. And then STR Zamasu at 71 million. I mean, this is the thing with this INT Zamasu. He's going to be really good on the team as another option character with a different name, right? Because currently the build of the team is pretty much like all Goku Blacks. Or like all Rose Goku Blacks. And from what we've seen, like of the numbers and everything, he's going to be perfectly fine as long as he's not taking, like I say, the biggest supers. And that's only if he's getting them, like, hit with them as, like, the first attack of the turn. If he gets hit a couple of times with normals first, and then takes a big super, he still is potentially going to be able to tank it, which is really good. So, but yeah, we'll use the other Rose active here. I didn't turn the animations off, but that's fine, because this animation is awesome.
Plan, the Zero Mortals plan. We are sentencing the most unsightly beings to the heaviest punishment.
If I get really lucky in part 2 and just pull a copy of both the part 2 units, like, very quickly, I am just going to use my free tickets to try and get a dupe for Rose and Zamasu. I've said it multiple times in, like, the previous videos, but this is my favourite unit in the game right now, for sure. So... Okay, so if we do this, we can get the action break, and then the tech clone doesn't actually even have to get hit. AGL Rose, of course, could still be potentially in danger if he gets hit with the super as the first attack of the turn. He's only getting attacked twice, so he could get hit by a normal, which would be good. That would put him up to like 45% damage reduction. But even then, I don't know, because the physical Sword of Hope Trunks, this guy with this last phase, hits for 7.7 million. So, one of the harder hitting bosses currently in the game. What would be really nice is if the super was in the middle here, because obviously the clone is going to get rid of that. So that would be kind of ideal if that's where the super was going to be. But we'll see. Rose, of course, gets the guaranteed additional. He's greatly raising defense on both of his attacks. He's going to get supered, yeah, as the first attack of the turn. Oh, Rose with the dodge. Let's go. Yeah, full dodge for AGL Rose is definitely a good, definitely a good build. All right, so Rose might kill him, but yeah, with all this support and everything and the build-up that he's had, he's at 400. This is with all the like double Rose active skill support and the Zamasu Goku in slot 3. He's at 421k. So again, remember when he attacks with 24 ki, he gets 200% extra attack and defense. So he jumps straight up to 1.2 million without even factoring in all of the super attack effect stuff, which is pretty good. But yeah, Trunks has 0 cooldown, so literally super attacked as the last attack of the previous turn, and then supered in slot 1. But I mean, that works for us because then we know he's not going to super Zamasu. 66 million for STR Rose. Fortunately, he has a lot of HP, otherwise Zamasu wouldn't get to attack again. And this is another one of those great situations where, yeah, Trunks is physical, Zamasu has type disadvantage, but all of his attacks are going to be effective against all types and guaranteed crits. So yeah, 44.6 million. So I mean, he's not like rivaling the new units, but he's getting a lot of attacks off. Like, he's another character that you can very easily just put on this Rose team. And especially with a lot of events now, the boss is like regularly supering in slot 1. This guy could easily be thrown onto this team as like a 3rd slot floating unit, because the rotations, running the main rotations, like both as STR Rose in slot 1 and then another Rose in slot 2, like the INT LR, and then the other rotation, the AGL Super EZA, and then floating you can have the Zamasu Goku for support, this guy for doing some good damage. Then the final spot is trickier because like one clone on their own on the team obviously isn't usually ideal. But hey, look at that. Zamasu Goku managed to get a finishing blow right at the end of the event to complete the event. But there you go. So that's the INT Fusion Zamasu. I would say he's pretty good. He's definitely not anything like super crazy, but he's definitely good. We'll try him out in a bunch of the events. I do want to try him out in the new like Rose and Zamasu hardest event in the game. It'll be interesting for him because obviously they both do Ki Blast Super, so he can't nullify those, but he should do relatively well. It'll be kind of scary because I know like a lot of the runs we've done on that event, like they can both super pretty much anywhere. I've been supered in slot 2 or 3 multiple times, so it could be a bit risky, but we'll definitely have to check it out. So let me know what you guys think of INT Fusion Zamasu down below in the comment section. I think he is a very solid EZA. He just falls into that category that many units in the game do, where he's going to die to the hardest hitting boss's super attacks only, and every other situation he'll be fine, doing some relatively good damage. Nothing crazy compared to like the new LRs obviously, but I think if he gave like a little bit of support, he would then just be like a must include on this team. But I still think he's very good, and if we get a new difficult boss come out in this event that does have an unarmed super attack, then he is going to be really good. So I guess we'll have to see. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.